You're listening to the House of Cards on Big Patriot Radio Network.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome in. It is Beaufort County's House of Cards. I am Mike Covert, host. Glad to have you here with us. We have a huge show tonight. Huge. No other way to say it. You've seen all of the stuff all over Facebook and YouTube and other social X. It was on there. We have something that will probably, most likely, definitely shock the political world in Beaufort County, especially the political world north of the Broad. We've been giving you little teaser pieces that'll be coming up here soon. Our special guest will be on. That'll come up here soon. They're going to get into the green room and make sure everybody's comfortable and all that. Beaufort County's House of Cards on BigPatriotRadio.com, seen on Facebook, YouTube, and heard on BigPatriotRadio.com is brought to you by F1 Mechanical. Check them out. Call for your HVA services on Hilton Head, Bluffton, Beaufort, South Carolina, and also Charlotte, North Carolina. That is F1 Mechanical. And be sure to stay tuned on election night for the F1 Mechanical Election Night Show with Corey Allen and Mike Covert.
Introducing to you.
You're on House of Cards. Live on Facebook and YouTube.
It's going down.
Locked and loaded with the truth.
All right. We're going to get into a couple of things here. I've got some messages, which, by the way, you can send us a message, a question, a comment, or whatever during the show anytime. And we will, if we can get it on. I see Ann Ubellis is here. Thanks, Ann. I did not see a message on my phone, but I tell you what, I will try to send that to you, and let's look at it about 8:15, somewhere in there after the first guest. I'll send that to you. So hold tight. Ann Ubellis and I. Ann is the one of five podcasts that we host on BigPatriotRadio.com. That is on Saturday afternoons, evenings rather, at 7 o'clock. You can catch Ann Ubellis, the Radio Chickadee, and Southern Sense podcast at 7 o'clock on BigPatriotRadio.com. Monday nights, we've got New America Movement with David and Jordan Cox at 7 and 9 p.m. Wednesday is the Overton Report with Corey Allen at 8 and 9 p.m. We're here on Thursdays. And then Saturdays, Ann Ubellis, and Sundays, Andrew Southwick and Culture Crossroads. So be sure to tune in for that. You know, I wanted to go over something. Well, first of all, I got screens going all over the place. Number one song this week on BigPatriotRadio.com was Monsters by Shinedown. Monsters, appropriate time of the year. Beaufort, South Carolina, and Summerville were the top listening cities. Fredericksburg, Virginia, and Offutt Air Base in Nebraska came in, I guess that would be third, tied for that as well. Again, we are going to have a guest on, be about the 7:30 time slot, so be sure to stay tuned for that. This week, I hear you, Ann. This week, I had the opportunity to go over to Burton and to a community meeting with the Beaufort County Awareness Group. That group's been together for some time now. My good friend V. Rich heads that up and is doing remarkable things in that community. I was fortunate enough to have the time and the ability to get over there. They had me come up and address the crowd, nice crowd for the community. We talked about the transportation sales tax. We talked about gosh, there was all kind of things we talked about that affect them. We talked about crime. The nexus of the meeting is about drugs and shootings and the murders of people, but especially children, and also trafficking of children, specifically in northern Beaufort County, but it applies everywhere. If you think you live somewhere where trafficking or drug abuse is not going on, you probably are in for a shock, because we can show it to you. Nobody, no one, nowhere, no how, no socioeconomic group is immune to trafficking, and that could be trafficking people, children, illegal immigrants, that could be drugs, weapons, whatever. But trafficking, and it's prevalent around these parts. But anyway, speaking with those folks, we heard from the police chief, Chief Price, and also she brought along with her, I don't know if that was an investigator or detective, but Chief Price of the city of Beaufort gave the folks some information about what they're doing, and the status, updated statistics, if you will. Also, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office detective was there, along with another officer, Matt Averill, I happen to know. They were there doing the same thing, talking about the Beaufort County side of the house. The one thing that I didn't hear, and that I was really hoping to hear, was that the answer to what you've been doing is obviously not working as it should. So what are you going to do to help solve this problem? I didn't hear that. I thought for sure, because a lot of these shootings and the murders, at least since I have been paying close attention to things, have been happening in apartment complexes, places like Ambrose Run. What are you doing about it? Because whatever it is we're doing, this is not casting blame or laying blame anywhere. It just is what it is, but it's not working. Has anybody ever thought of maybe having, what do they call them? Not precincts, but a police and/or sheriff's department outpost, whatever the right term for that outpost would be, in selected areas, selected hot spots. They know what the hot spots are. They told us the other night they know what they are. They even called them out. Maybe they should do something different. I did like to hear that the city of Beaufort has started at Stewart Point, I believe it was, apartments, and doing some things, community involvement. That was promising to hear, but we still have a problem. We have a problem in the county. We have a problem in the state. We have a problem in the nation. Even though we just heard the other day that crime is going down, actually crime down by 2% is what I heard. Well, actually the crime rate is up 4.3%. Crime is not going down. You can take, and this is something that some other folks have enlightened us with, you can take numbers and you can twist them and tie them and paint them, and you can make them turn into almost anything if you try hard enough. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on here, but I think we need to be open and honest with ourselves. The other thing that came from this meeting was, some people that were able to, that wanted to talk, talked about something that we commonly refer to in our house as home training. Apparently, a lot of these kids, and I'm speaking specifically of kids 18 and under, that are committing these crimes, or young adults that grew up without home training. Where are the parents? Where are they? Someone asked the sheriff's department, I believe it was, about whether or not, and where do you draw the line of a parent being involved? The comments were a little all over the place. I'll tell you what my opinion is with that, is that if you make guns accessible to your children and they go out and kill someone or maim someone, yes, you should be responsible as a parent or the guardian whoever is in charge of that child. That's the key. They're in charge of the child. The child does not run the roost. Now, if the child goes out and steals a gun, robs a car and takes a gun and commits a murder, that is not the parent's fault, so to speak, just on the surface, because they didn't make it available. Okay. Same thing could be said. Well, I kept my guns in a safe, and the child got into it. Well, we can go through scenarios all night long and beat this drum to death. The point is, don't make them available. Don't give them to the children, and this will start to go down. In, I guess it was North Georgia, that last one. Apparently, the father, if I'm getting the story right, the father actually gave the son a weapon, and he's underage, and whatever. That was a horrific scenario. I know somebody lives directly across the street from the school. Horrific scenario. They're still fighting, recovering from that up in North Georgia. That was our community, or their community meeting. Again, I want to say thank you to V. Rich. Valeria is awesome. She was sent there to do this, and the folks that help her, they do a phenomenal job. Made me feel very welcome. Had the opportunity to meet Ms. Uhas, running for State House 121 against Michael Rivers. I had the chance to talk with Shelley Yohas, Shelley Gay Yohas, for a moment, and fantastic, outstanding lady. I happen to know, I didn't know it before, but I know after talking with her, we know some family of hers, and she has some fantastic ideas. She is celebrated by many communities, and I think she would be a fine addition to the South Carolina House of Representatives. Michael Rivers is a fine gentleman. I know him personally, but when it comes down to getting things done, I will have to say that I don't think what we've been doing is working. I really don't think, especially on St. Helena in that area. And that goes all the way over into Jasper County, and it's a pretty big district. I just don't think things are getting done. Shelley Gay Yohas would join people like Shannon Erickson and Bill Herb Kurzman and Tom Davis and Chip Campson and Jeff Bradley and Weston Newton, and things would get done. St. Helena Island, you should have felt during the last carve-outs for cash, as I call them, you should have felt a little shortened. And part of that is part and parcel. I blame that on Michael Rivers. He is the representative. And you got the least amount, quote unquote, I believe it was $50,000. That was it. While other communities, other areas reaped in reward after reward. The needs are there. You just have to have somebody stand up for them. So I believe that Shelley Gay Yohas is going to do a phenomenal job. I don't know if I'll have time to get her on here and let you all introduce her or herself to you, but we'll try to do that. I do see that our guest has arrived in the green room because this is such a special night. Can you all feel the excitement? Do you feel it? We've got more people on right now on all three channels than I've had in months. This is cutting edge stuff. Like I said before, this is going to shock the Beaufort County political system to the core. Change needs to be made, and you are about to see how change can happen. It can happen like this. All you need is someone willing, someone able, someone that decides, I've had enough, my people have had enough, and it's time to do something. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes with our special guest when we bring, I almost said it, when we bring our guest on, Marie J. The money is there, but they won't go for it. Marie, that's a very, very good, and thank you for listening, darling. That's a very good point. The money is there. And let me explain to you how this stuff works. This is one of the reasons, Marie, why I have been so hard on telling folks you need to reelect Shannon Erickson, Jeff Bradley, Weston Newton, Bill Herb Kurzman, Chip Campson, Tom Davis. You need to reelect them. Why? Well, here you go. Shannon Erickson, chairwoman of the Education Committee in the House of Representatives. Super, super important, top of the list committee. And she's the chair. Weston Newton, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. That's probably the top of the top when it comes to responsibilities, because it has to do with judiciary, the judicial system. And Beaufort County's own Weston Newton is the chair. Bill Herb Kurzman, he is the chair of two committees under the Ways and Means, the House Ways and Means. That's where the budget comes from. And Bill Herb Kurzman is all over that. Jeff Bradley, he is the chair of the House, I believe it's called Rules Committee, I believe. But he's also, you don't even know about this unless you watch the program, he is going to be named chair of the AI and Cybersecurity Committee. How much more important does it take? Let's go over to the Senate side. Chip Campson, he is the chairman of the Fish and Game, or Fish and Wildlife. Very important if you're in Beaufort County, Colleton County, Charleston County, Jasper County. That's pretty important. That's part of our daily life. Who else do we have? Senator Tom Davis. Senator Tom Davis is the chairman of the LCI, Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee. Again, except for maybe the Senate Ways and Means or Finance, other than Senate Finance, which he sits on, the LCI committee is so important. All right, so I just pimped them all out to you. So what does it have to do, Marie, with what your question is? Your question is, because we have in Beaufort County and Jasper County and part of Colleton, part of Hampton, because we have the Beaufort delegation in all these chairman, chairwomanships, the money will come back to the county. All you have to do is ask for it. You have to put it in, put pen to paper, make it legible, make it literal, and ask for it. And these representatives and these state senators will go and get it. Let me also mention Senator Margie Bright Matthews. Even though she and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, she is a vital piece of the Beaufort County delegation. So to people like Michael Rivers, again, he is a great guy. I mean, he is a God-fearing man. I think of the world of him. I just think we are at a time where in his communities, mainly St. Helena, not enough has been done for far too long. The people of St. Helena have had enough. They've had enough. They're tired of being compared to other places in the county. It's almost as if some people are trying to rewrite the book. What was the name of it? Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You have the haves and you have the have-nots. That was in his book. That's almost like how, unfortunately, now he's not comparing them. I'm just saying actions speak louder than words. I'm sure the people of St. Helena are tired of the haves and the have-nots. One of the ladies the other night asked me, she said, we want a recreation center on St. Helena. How come they have it in Bluffton? And why? She said, why did a developer pay for it? And I said, because I've been on county council, let me explain to you how that happened. In 2009, Marie J says, I tried to tell people that Rivers don't ask for it, he won't speak up. You made my case. Miss Marie, you just made my case. In 2009, 7 or 9, whatever it was, the Bluffton Recreation Center was built. It was built with an impact fee. Every community in the county has impact fees. There are library impact fees. There are parks and recreation impact fees. There are stormwater impact fees. The list goes on and on. And when you build something, whether it's a new house or a commercial building or an addition, whatever, you have these impact fees. Well, you have banks, you have kitties, you have buckets, and those buckets keep getting filled. Obviously, with the growth that Bluffton has seen, obviously, common sense will tell you that that bucket's going to get filled up pretty quick. Well, it's not like there's nobody moving to St. Helena or the areas around there that fill up that same bucket. So there is a parks and leisure or parks and recreation impact fee that county council, had they been doing their job properly, would pull from to build the recreation center. Now, to the point she made, which was very, very apropos, well, I heard a builder paid for it. I don't know about that, but I can tell you this. There are development agreements all over this county, okay? And those development agreements, some have been around for decades. Some are being worked on, as we speak. On county council, I had the esteemed privilege of working on several development agreements, and the most enjoyable were with my good friend Tabor Vox and Brian Flewelling. Those were the ones that I really enjoyed working on. And there are things you can put in a development agreement, such as money for recreation, or land for recreation, or land for schools. I mean, land for a fire department. You can put all that in the development agreement. It's a negotiation thing. So why has nobody done that on St. Helena? Why has nobody done that on St. Helena? Asked for the impact fees. The next time somebody wants to build a subdivision or whatever, put it in the development agreement. But instead, we get this. That's what we get. We need a change. My friend Shannon Loper, the money from St. Helena went into Wesley Felix. It was $1 million to be exact that went. And there's a typo, something about the St. Helena area. Maybe she's typing more. There is more. The developer from the golf course was going to do that. So why didn't that happen? I don't know. I don't know about that, but I know that bucket's got money in it. I know nobody's going and fighting for that recreation center. Now, the Beaufort Economic Development Corporation had done something trying to get $17 million or something like that. But a recreation center is not economic development. So I don't know where they were twisting that from. You would have had to pay extra for it. But nevertheless, that's what has to happen. That is what has to happen. It is 7:27. We're coming up on the bottom of the half hour. We're going to be bringing on our special guest right after this message from F1 Mechanical.
You know if your home's heating and cooling system is working properly, safely, and efficiently? Call F1 Mechanical in Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort, South Carolina, as well as Greater Charlotte, North Carolina, for immediate service or inspection. Don't wait weeks. Call 843-284-9156. 284-9156 today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's F1 Mechanical, 843-284-9156. Call now, and all customers with gas furnaces will get a free combustion air test.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
That is what I'm talking about. So I'll give you a couple more minutes before we get to the bottom of the hour. If you have friends that aren't on here, if you're not one of the over 1,000 on all three, you can go on YouTube. You can go on the Beaufort County House of Cards Facebook page. You can go on the Overton Reports Facebook page. you can go to bigpatriotradio.com and we are simulcasting live. You can listen to it there. We've got people in Offutt Air Base listening already, and I still don't have a clue who that is. I have no idea. Good friend Helga, how are you? Support Trump, North of the Broad, sign and flag waving every Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. in front of Beaufort City Hall on Boundary Street in Beaufort. That's the 22nd, 29th of October and the 5th of November. What a nice little plug that was for you. All right, we're going to be bringing on our guest. And I've been telling you about this because I did it this way because it has to be a surprise politically. North of the Beaufort County in general has had numerous problems. We've talked about them ad nauseum, and we're going to keep talking about them. When we find problems in corruption, we're going to expose it. North of the Broad, and this isn't about corruption, but we just talked about North of the Broad, specifically St. Helena Island, not reaping what they should have because of state representation, local representation, what have you. Many of those folks, I heard from them in Burton, I heard from many in St. Helena, simply have said, we have had enough. We have had enough. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to tonight's show. I believe he is actually on St. Helena Island, Mr. Willie Terrell.
How's it going?
Willie, how are you, sir?
Good. Appreciate you having me on, Mike.
Man, the pleasure is all mine. It's good to see you, my friend. How have you been?
Man, one, it's good to be seen. Encouraged. I know it's a lot going on across the landscape. So there's a lot of concerns, of course, across the landscape. But through all those concerns, it's election season, and
right.
There's hope. And there's hope and change.
There is hope. There is hope. Now, for people that don't know you, before we get into what this whole surprise is about, would you introduce yourself? And as we were talking the other day, I would rather you do it. I want you to introduce yourself and tell everybody just who Willie Terrell is. Not what we're getting ready to talk about, but who you are, and where you live, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, simply put, I'm just a country kid from St. Helena, trying to live his dreams out for sure. Right now, I'm a business owner here in the Corners community, owning Willie's Breakfast Bar and Grill. So I've been doing that for about a year. Excited to recently have graduated from Charleston School of Law, so preparing to take the bar in February, and just down here in South Carolina, trying to do my best to make improvements and be a citizen and productive in the St. Helena community.
Man, that's outstanding. That is outstanding. I'm really fortunate, and again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I want to respect that, but I'm going to turn the microphone over to you and tell everyone this big news, this big surprise that we have going on.
The big news is that we're not done fighting for St. Helena Island. I know that there's and I really should say District 3. I know that there's a sense of despair for District 3 as we go into the season, really not having any challenger to what has transpired for the last 16 years. I've talked to a lot of residents that come in out the restaurant, and there's a sense of disappointment. I mean, there was to them an opportunity here to really get District 3 going in a direction that is completely opposite of where it's heading. And I think Kevin Phillips, Mayor of Port Royal, said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And unfortunately, we're literally dying in District 3. We literally have bodies laid out in the street. And when you put into gravity, teaching for 5 years, seeing these kids go through the elementary education system, and then reading about them in a different light, you being here in District 3, I feel it with them. And so the big announcement is that there is hope. and that I'm throwing my name in the hat and I'm running as a write-in candidate for District 3. That's the announcement.
On County Council, District 3.
Yep.
That is. I need to. Where are the people with clapping hands? Willie Terrell running as a write-in candidate for District 3. That's St. Helena, parts of downtown Beaufort, I believe.
Yep. St. Helena, parts of downtown Beaufort, Pope Village.
And you are going to be going up against the incumbent, Mr. York Glover.
Yes. Yep.
So let's talk about this again. And I'm grateful that you have decided to do this. You have a mountain to climb.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
as young as you are and as energetic as you are, and from what I know about you, you're taking that head on as a personal challenge, and you're going to make it happen. So let's talk about this now. York Glover and I got on county council at the same time. I respect Mr. Glover. If I had another brother, I'd probably want it to be somebody like York Glover.
Mm-hmm.
Politically, we are diametrically completely different.
Right.
As I said with Mr. Rivers, again, an awesome man. But he's not doing it for the people of St. Helena.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel, Willie, that, Mr. Glover is not doing it for the people of St. Helena. Tell us all, what is the difference in Willie Terrell versus what they've had for years that just isn't working anymore?
Vision, and expectation. I mean, that is the biggest difference. Vision and expectation. I got a vision for St. Helena that's rooted in the kids, that's rooted in the future, that's rooted in growing up here over the last 30 years. And I have an expectation that we're not a floor mat or drive-through district, that we have skills, we have a culture, and we have the right tools to not only be beggars in a scheme of putting our hand out and want something to give. We can contribute. District 3 is a special place. I mean, we hold the heart of the Gullah Geechee community, and for us not to strive and kind of operate as we should as a leader in the county, someone who can contribute to the economic system and develop in a way that gives District 3 a future.
What is the future for District 3? If you were to look out 5 years or 10 years, what is that island? And I'm specifically talking about St. Helena, but
Mm-hmm.
anyway, what is the vision, the 5-year and the 10-year vision? What do you think it's going to look like?
Oh man, with the right leadership, and that's the first thing. With the right leadership, the right leadership, in 5 years, you see St. Helena really developing the type of infrastructure that's needed to operate as a safe island. And I'm talking about when you see houses burning down, knowing that St. Helena's been out of fire code for over 10, 15 years. When you see that these head-on accidents, and we can attribute it to drivers driving recklessly, or we can be honest and say that it's not even safe. If a hurricane comes, the traffic flow on St. Helena has not been safe. I mean, we have a lot of citizens and not a lot of space to drive. So in the first 5 years, you just clean up first. You just have to get St. Helena caught up. Infrastructure-wise, whether it's cable wiring, whether it's Wi-Fi capabilities, whether it's road and travel, you just got to catch us up with the rest of the county. And then the next 5 years, I see a bustling economy. I mean, St. Helena should have a downtown system, downtown economy that is equivalent to Bluffton, Hilton Head, or anywhere else. We definitely have the culture, and we definitely have the skill set in terms of the kids that we produce. Unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity. So, we send our best and brightest to New York, to California, to Wisconsin, to Colorado to look for opportunities. But I see it 10 years where people from Colorado and Wisconsin and Chicago are saying, I want to go to St. Helena because there's opportunities over there.
So, and I love that vision. And I also like to hear that you're worried about the kids. The kids are leaving. They're not coming back. They're leaving. Right. And we used to have that conversation, former Mayor Solka and I, about Bluffton. We got to figure out a way to keep these kids here. They go off to school and they're gone. So I'm glad to hear that. But let's talk about let's talk about keeping them alive.
Mhm.
Now, public safety obviously is responsibility of the sheriff. He has a constitutional duty for that. However, and some folks would disagree with me, but I personally don't care if they disagree because I still raise my hand about this. There is input from county council that can be given or worked in conjunction with the sheriff, the solicitor's office. Do you have any, maybe it's just plans or thoughts of how you can work with law enforcement, with the solicitor's office to let's eliminate some of the high crime? It'd be nice to eliminate it all, but we don't live in utopia. But bring down these murders, bring down the violence, bring down the trafficking that's bad on St. Helena, bring down the drugs. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, just a few minutes ago, I was talking with the sister of a woman who recently was lost her life here on St. Helena, and it's hard, talking to somebody who's lost two sisters to violence, and it's crazy. So something one has to be done. I mean, it cannot continue like this. And in terms of plans, yeah, absolutely. One is, first of all, Sheriff Tanner does a great job, and we have to learn how to go out and support our sheriff. Wherever he's welcome, and wherever you invite him, he surely will come. And so it's really about going out here and making the connections with those law enforcement agencies, the solicitor's office, the DJJ programs, and also the schools. Just finding criminals to lock them up is not, it's not a recipe for success. You have to really be proactive. And I think that some of my plan, goes back to biblical days, right? Devil finds use for idle hands. So again, making sure that we focus on taking care of St. Helena, creating opportunities for these kids. You get a kid a job, it is a saving grace, right? Letting these kids have something to put their hands to, because if we don't have anything for them to do, if we don't have anything to occupy their time, then we leave them to their own devices, and we often see that doesn't give us the result that we want.
Willie, would you believe that the other night, I don't know if you were listening when I was talking, but at a community meeting in Burton that I was at, there were people that were literally saying the same thing that you just said. They were asking for that. They asked the police chief, the city of Beaufort, what can we do during the off season, summertime, and she went through some plans. You're answering exactly what people are looking for. So I applaud that. I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Just a reminder that the sheriff's office has a $39 million budget that Beaufort County has to approve. His budget goes through the process. Willie, for far too long, I have seen on county council that departments like the sheriff's department, maybe, or the solicitor's department, maybe, and some others possibly, just got a rubber stamp. Are you going to be the type of council representative to the people of St. Helena and District 3 that will believe in not just spending money and raising taxes, throwing it at the wall and see what sticks, looking at the bottom line with the taxpayer in mind?
Well, yeah, you tend to counsel based on your own experiences. And so I didn't grow up with the type of mindset or even the type of opportunity to just throw money away. The way I was raised and how I had to raise my family, it's all about, saving and being smart and being resourceful. And so, no, these tax dollars are not free money. And it's crazy how folks sit around a table and start thinking that this hard-earned money is free. It's hard-earned money. And whenever you go to spend it, allocate it, the research needs to be done, and you need to be responsible, and you need to be transparent in the spending. So no, I don't see myself, throwing money away. I think, what I'm running on is who I am, and that means that you got to be responsible, and these things got to make sense. That's not to say that you cut any department. You're not here to play politics and try to take somebody's feet from under them. These departments are also emergency services. Like, do you really want a low budget emergency service? Do you really want a low budget sheriff's office? Certain things it has to be funded properly, because to do so would be more detrimental to the community.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. And along with that, I think that Valeria Richardson just commented 39 million. Yeah, he's got, other than the school system, he has the highest budget in the county.
Yeah,
Um,
part of that too is, though, sheriff does have his own forensic department in
mhm.
Beaufort County. So you see some of these budgets. I know they sound like a lot, but you gotta and that's the thing too. As a representative, I want to make sure I come with facts. I don't want to jump off any line item. Things need to be looked over carefully and lined up, and then properly, because you could look at a department like that, says a high budget, but then how much is being saved having our own forensic department. So you got to look at all the different line items when you do review something like that too.
If someone was to say to you, talking about ways that because what we're doing isn't working when it comes to high crime, murder, drugs, trafficking, death by drugs, all that kind of stuff. Whatever we're doing isn't working. One of our guests, viewers, Marie, makes a good point here. County council won't touch the issue. As county councilman of District 3, if you brought this up in committee, that, hey, we need to talk about this. Let's talk about what we can do as a county council to help the sheriff's department or the solicitor, or bring them in. What will you do if the majority or some of the others on council say, we don't have anything to do with that?
Well, that's why you have a voice to represent the people. I mean, why else would you be on the council if not to speak up for your district or for issues, even if they lay outside your district? So, fortunately, me being who I am, I respect all the county council, but respectfully, I have a job to do, and that's a voice. So, how inappropriate would it be to have a job to voice something and then not speak? I think that's the biggest issue we have now. It's too many. It's too much politics. It's too much friendship. It's too much, backdoor deals. We need to get to doing the right things for the constituents, and for the citizens of Beaufort County in general.
Right. Let's talk about infrastructure. You had mentioned infrastructure as far as roads, and that is a huge issue. I mean, you've basically got one way in and one way out.
Right.
And I think that is something that should be not immediately looked at, but should be on the forefront. When you look at infrastructure, how is infrastructure such as broadband? That was an issue back in 2017, 18, something like that. Did that get, did St. Helena Island receive, the influx of broadband that was supposed to happen?
Well, unfortunately, no. St. Helena Island has not received a lot of things, and I'm not running to personally attack Councilman Glover. I think he's a fine character. It's purely about what we need on St. Helena, and kind of the negligence that we faced through our representative. There's been a lot of perks and incentives, and as you talked about earlier, Chip has brought money down, Bill has brought money down. There's been a lot of resources, big pockets of money that's been available for District 3 or any district or any representative who was in need and put in for it. Unfortunately, York Glover didn't see I mean, there was $50 million at one point in time that was on the table. That was just an open pocket of money. It was limited to who could even get it. I mean, it would have really been a District 3 home run. Mm-hmm. York didn't even request anything. I think they gave him a mercy, like 50,000 or 10,000. Yeah, just because basically the money was for them. I mean, it was as simple as writing down, I need, and being granted. So those kind of things. It's hurtful, in District 3, knowing that you have citizens like Carrie Major who's been screaming about community centers. And it really goes before, bigger than her. Like my dad is on 138, when I take him to therapy, we're driving in the YMCA in Port Royal. We're going to the VA in Port Royal, or even farther, we're going to Charleston. When the kids want something to do, we're driving in to Bluffton to the movie. Like, there's nothing on St. Helena, and to know that there's nothing here, and know that we have needs to have $50 million available, and you don't even request anything, I think is absolute negligence.
Let's talk about transit. A lot of folks that live on St. Helena, like in other places in the county, work on Hilton Head, whether it's food and beverage or hospitality or
Hmm.
service industries.
Hmm.
There's an influx. We have Palmetto Breeze now, but mass transit is an issue. Is that something that the people of St. Helena would support? Some sort of mass transit for those to go to Bluffton or to Hilton Head, because of the large employment there.
No, I don't think so. The people on St. Helena, definitely. We want the roads. We want the roads to be safe. But when it comes to, like, any more degradation of the landscape, or just to build a way to work in Bluffton, no. What I think what we rather have is more jobs on St. Helena, where less people have to have a mass exodus every morning to go make a way for themselves. I mean, that there's space and time and opportunity, to plan out a proper plan for St. Helena that empowers the residents to make money and creates an economic vehicle in St. Helena, whereas they become partners on the table. So no, I don't think they'll support mass transit. I think they'll support a plan that brings commerce to St. Helena, though.
Great. So let's look at that. All industries is not a good thing. There are some things that are appropriate and some things that are not. We could take the elephant out of the room. Industrial type jobs is not appropriate, in my opinion, for St. Helena. Now, it is for
Right,
Seabrook or Gardens Corner,
right,
maybe,
right.
maybe. So, what kind of jobs, what kind of industries, what kind of careers? And I mean, not everybody can be a farmer.
Right.
What is it that would boost that kind of thing on St. Helena?
Well, it's interesting. On St. Helena now, you have about, it feels like 100,000 entrepreneurs. I mean, most people I know have their job and they sell something. Whether they sell food, whether they sell baskets, whether they sell floor arrangements, oils. St. Helena and its community is probably one of the most hustling community that I've ever seen. But it's, are these entrepreneurs, these small businesses, they often don't have the proper back and the proper support to become a mainstream business, to become a brick and mortar business, to become an online front. So, there's businesses already here, but having a councilman and having a team and having a plan who's willing to actually go in the community, find these folks and have some guidance, and where the economy that we here needs to be elevated. The folks that are selling here they need to be helped so that they can sell at a larger scale. So it's less about creating and more about elevating what's already here on St. Helena.
When I was on county council, there was a time where Mr. Glover and I had the conversation. I helped, matter of fact, him with the farmers co-op, the Gullah Farmers Co-op, get that ball rolling,
Hmm.
I enjoyed every minute of it. I enjoyed it because I don't. That's part of life I don't see every day where I live.
Right.
But there are things that I think that St. Helena, and I'm just going to throw one out there. Obviously, agriculture goes without saying, but mariculture, there's more water, as far as I'm aware, in St. Helena Island in northern Beaufort County, that living off the water as far as science,
Hmm.
research,
Hmm.
I mean, all kinds of very, very well paying jobs and careers.
Right.
It would seem to me like that would be a gold mine for the people of St. Helena to take advantage of that.
Absolutely. During COVID, I got a chance to work with DHEC and some other groups. And part of what we were doing was teaching kids and taking kids out on the water and to see the sciences. So, the opportunities here on St. Helena, it's surrounded by water. It's surrounded by life ecosystems. So not only would that be a great opportunity, but it's something that's necessary. We're talking about protecting St. Helena and viability and going forward. Our ecosystems, our culture, our plants, our flora, our fauna, those are things that should be protected, should be studied. And so, it would not make sense, right? Not to utilize what we already have here and the mechanisms that's already in place. And it's all about getting eyes and again, I think you said it earlier, Mike. It's as simple as writing things down on a paper, right, and getting things sent up to the right folks and the funding and making it happen. And it's just that simple.
Have you had the chance yet, Willie? And I probably already know the answer to this, but have you had the chance to talk to anyone, that's in the county delegation, or whether it's the House or the Senate, getting some advice about, hey, this is what I'm getting ready to do. Do you have any mentors that have been, talking with you?
Well, if I'm honest, a big part of me hopping in is because of delegation on both sides. People who have been tied with me, kind of mentoring me through a bunch of different processes, and a lot of the encouragement came from them saying, "Look, Willie, we understand it might be a mountain to climb, but who else will climb it if not you? You've been put in a position. It's a calling that you have to answer to. You are carrying more than you know in terms of a generation, a culture, opportunity, and people had their eyes on you. They're following you, and so it was a lot of delegation that said, really, regardless of the outcome. You must hop in the fight. You must give them an opportunity, and you got to stay involved. And so this is part of me listening to that delegation and kind of answering the call.
That is a huge part of it. And not everybody can do what you're doing. They can, but there are things for them to do. The county has I don't even know how many boards and commissions. I mean, it's like a ton. People can get involved. Somebody's got to do it. I applaud you for doing it. It is not easy, my friend. I will tell you that right now. You're going to need to, back here, this part of your neck is going to have to get really, really thick because they come at you incessantly. It'll happen. But I know that you're man for the job. So let's talk about that. Now, I know you are, as when you ran for previous office, you're a Republican, correct?
Yes, sir.
So,
That's more of a loaded question.
no,
These
no, no,
days.
no, no.
So, I'm definitely conservative, and
Right.
it's a two-party system. So if I got to choose a side, I'm definitely choosing Republican. And I just don't see how I could slide that far left. But honestly, I'm maybe more of an independent these days. I'm definitely fiscally conservative, but there's an understanding that people have to be considered, and things have to sometimes go beyond hard dollars, and we have to be compassionate at times.
Well, that brings up a good point, and a lot of folks in my party or our party will disagree vehemently with what I'm about to say. But the school board is nonpartisan.
Right,
County council is partisan
right.
because of what we do on county council. I mean, let's face it; it's mainly socialized things. The government providing things. I mean, that's really what it is.
Right.
That almost shouldn't be partisan, while school board is it has reason to be absolutely in today's society partisan.
Yeah,
Where I'm going with all that is
I'd
this.
agree.
Would you agree? And I think I talked to you earlier, and I wanted to have him on here, but he is in Charleston fighting a fight for his life, and that's Duke Buckner.
Right.
Duke Buckner, Republican from Walterboro, running against Jim Clyburn. When I look at Duke Buckner, who's awesome guy, and I look at you, people look at him, people look at you. Is this the new face of the Republican Party?
Yeah, maybe new, or maybe just the old one coming back around. Things have a tendency to swing and slide and kind of circumvent. As you mentioned earlier, you had never thought school board would be a partisan thing, but I absolutely agree with you. In this today's climate, school board should absolutely be partisan. And you would think that county council, So yeah, I think agree. I think maybe a new face or maybe an old face come around, but definitely I think as a Republican, it feels good to see other folks get past the media projections. So oftentimes we get sucked up in the national headlines and national news, and we begin to almost like kids in a game get bullied into
Yeah.
identifying with who our friends say we should or what. And it feels good when you look at the issues and make a choice. You asked me earlier if I was Republican, and I say yes because the
Mhm.
issues make me that's just I can't get away from one certain things. I'm fighting for certain things, and I think a lot of people who look like me share those same issues. It is shocking to me that there's not more Duke Buckners in the Republican Party, but I just something that we have to see how it folds out over the next few years.
And I think Willie, you make a good point. And by the way, Marie J, who has been on here tonight, and Marie, I apologize. My screen, I'm not at the studio, so my screen's real small. I didn't realize that was you. I met Miss Marie the other night. She says, "No, it's not easy. She is a write-in candidate, Beaufort County Council District 1. She's running independent." And so, Marie, I appreciate you jumping on here. And yes, you're learning. I got to meet her. She's great. Brought her daughter to the meeting. It was super. And I even I was using some examples. So anyway, the thing about the partisan county council isn't working on things that the mass media and mass people get caught up in, the big talk.
All right.
You are about to get involved in stormwater
Mm-hmm.
or county roads,
Mm-hmm.
fire and EMS,
Mhm.
property taxes. Those things, even though, I bleed Reagan red,
Right.
those things are not a partisan issue.
Right.
Republicans don't pay less property taxes than Democrats.
Right.
We all pay too much property taxes. It just is
Right.
what it is. But something, you're right. And in talking with some folks over really the last couple of years, I try to put myself in other people's shoes. Sometimes that's easy to do. Sometimes that's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
I've studied at immense lengths the father, if you will, of the Republican Party in South Carolina, and that's Robert Smalls.
Right.
From Beaufort.
Right.
I have studied him and studied him and studied him. And Willie, when you look at Robert Smalls and what he believed in, and it's still coming through today.
Correct.
I don't know how anyone would not want to follow in his footsteps. Case in point, his, great grandson
Victoria
is running as a Democrat against Nancy Mace.
Okay, yeah, Michael,
I look at that and go, how in the world could you be doing that when your, great grandfather was he's Mr. Republican Party in South Carolina.
Well, Mike, it depends on the type of political person you are. What I mean are you national first or local first? Now,
Right.
If you're a national first candidate, then the big headlines is gonna drag you in. It's gonna race bait you, and it's gonna divide you. That we all know how national politics do. But if you come local first, again, then you're coming from a different lens. And I had the luxury of coming in local first and looking at the nuts and bolts of the party. And I don't see how. And that's just me. And I've got slack because folks will try to nationalize the conversation. Well, how would Trump great? All that you can say is great, but when you still break it down, you get to the nuts and bolts. I don't see how any American would really not be. But those are a different conversation at a different time. But.
And you are exactly right. And it's such a breath of fresh air, Willie, because my show, my radio, my podcast that you're on, we don't get into much of the national issues,
Right?
Because you hear about it like it's like vomit from everywhere else. And I have always said that what you're about to do, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
If you were to take a pyramid, Willie, and you were to take the levels of government, county, city, state house, state senate, Congress, and the president. 9 times out of 10 people would start at the top, president,
Right.
and come down. In my opinion, my friend, you are going to be at the top. County councils, city councils, that is where it really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an opportunity to make incredible strides in people's lives, not just St. Helena, but countywide. You really
Right.
do.
Right. Well, thank you. And, I welcome the opportunity. And you're right. I'm home. I want to take care of home first, but it really is bigger than District 3. County becomes a majority vote and also becomes a majority conscience. So it's very important to have folks on there who are really vested in the local community and just have a common sense and a desire to see things be good here in Beaufort County.
You must have read my mind, because my next comment was that you will have things to vote on that may not look like your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
For an example, in Bluffton, we fight traffic, usually, vacationers. God love them. We love them all.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a fight. Traffic
Right.
is a fight. Overdevelopment is a fight. There are people like, Paula Brown, Logan Cunningham, Tom Reitz, people on this side of the river, so to speak, who will need, votes from Northern Beaufort County to work with them in solving problems.
Right.
My question to you, unlike some of the folks north of the Broad, unlike some of them, are you going to be a problem solver Beaufort County wide, or are you going to live in the silo like we see now? It's only St. Helena. I think we know the answer, but I like to give it to you.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you can't live in that silo and get much done, first of all. And when you talk about Logan Cunningham, Paul Tom, like these are folks that I have great relationships with, and that I understand the problems that they face over there. So, I'm definitely not here to drive into the circus, right? Or create another act. It's about getting things done and pushing things forward. Maybe it won't be as interesting at the county council meetings. Maybe it won't be as many shenanigans, but we're definitely about getting the business done and working as a team to understand the bigger picture of Beaufort County, because these are my neighbors. Regardless if this is my district, these are my neighbors. You definitely want to be a good neighbor. And any problems that you have around the district, they're going to touch and concern one another. We're still in Beaufort County. And so, yeah, I'm fighting for District 3. I want to make sure that things happen here, but I'm going to get that done while helping to be a problem solver in all other districts in Beaufort County.
It's 5 minutes, almost 10 minutes after 8 at the top of the hour. We're talking with Willie Terrell, who is of Beaufort County's District 3. He is running for county council. District 3 just announced tonight. Willie, of all the people, now we're well over 1,000, including on the radio. We've got a lot of people listening to this. Give them your elevator speech. What do you need? We're down to, what is it, like 25 days, somewhere in there? I don't know, somewhere in 20 to 30 days left.
Right.
Early voting starts in 4 days.
Correct.
So it's time, my brother. Tell us what we need to know so we can get the vote out for Willie Terrell.
Well, they're crossing the Delaware, and we didn't want to shoot till we saw the whites in the eyes. So we see the whites, and now it's time to fire off. So first thing first, let me personally ask you for your vote. Let me personally ask for your vote of confidence, to hear what I'm saying, understand the issues. And if you live in District 3, please allow me to be a vehicle for change. Please write me in election day, vote early, absentee ballot, or go down in the 5th, because District 3 needs it, and I'm here to bring that change. Now, if you're not in District 3, then tell a friend, spread the word, get the message out. And most importantly, if anything else, get out and vote. Get out and vote and get involved and stay active. For my friends, look, last time I ran, we had 6,000 votes, mostly on St. Helena Island. I think if you were to come out and support me, you can put the candidate in that is aligned with your values. So just know that you have a tremendous amount of power. There's 1,000 people on here. If everybody on this broadcast writes me in and 4 more people, I'll take this district, and I will show you exactly why Mike brought me on, and why a lot of people who know me will be excited to see somebody who's willing to champion, who's been fighting and will continue to fight for St. Helena and Beaufort County. So get out there and vote. Stay active. Write me in and spread the word.
There you go. Mr. Willie, you are always welcome here on the House of Cards. Hopefully you'll tune in to bigpatriotradio.com. And don't forget, on election night, we will have a show from 6:45 all the way through, till the cows come home. And we'll send you an invite to get you on the show, and we'll see where it takes out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
Willie, and good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Willie Terrell, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Man, that is awesome. Anytime someone decides to jump into the fray, I applaud them. And I wish that he had done it, back during the primary. But that's okay. Things have been happening on St. Helena. And again, a lot of times, it takes people to say, that's it. Right now, as far as I'm aware, Mr. Glover isn't opposed by the Republican Party. Not that I'm aware of. If he is, somebody tell me, but I don't think he is. So there's a point where you say, I can't do the primary, couldn't do it, but I can still get out there and make it happen. So I applaud you, Willie. Good luck.
Locked and loaded. Let's go. Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
All right, we're going to, we just got a couple of more minutes. And I think because I am remote, I cannot send you that link. So I apologize. We'll get Ann Ubellis on here. Maybe we'll tape something. The last thing I wanted to talk about, or 2 things, actually. One is a story we're working on, just to let you know about it. Has to do with property along the Ocoee River in Bluffton. There's a piece of property that I'll tell you about probably next week. That was the only piece of property left available unbuilt on the Ocoee River across from Pepper Hall that didn't have anything on it. Was purchased for $290-some thousand. It was purchased by, as we are finding out, the parents of the former assistant county attorney, Brittany Ward. A month or 2 later, the property was sold at a almost $200,000 profit to the county of Beaufort. What's the big deal? Well, the county attorney, this assistant county attorney, was the power of attorney for the sale. We're working on that story. We're going to bring that to you probably next week once it's all finished. Let's see here. Last thing I want to talk to you about, and I was going to try to have Ann on, is the transportation sales tax. I have been sending this out, and I want to tell people here tonight that this transportation sales tax referendum question, number 1, for $950 million is going to be on the ballot. Their county council is asking you to let them spend $950 million after wanting to spend $1.625 billion. They pared it down to a paltry $950 million. But if you add the list up, it's only $900 million. So there's a $50 million surplus. This transportation sales tax is for 15 projects, $950 million. Let's take a step back. Pump the brakes. Let's go back to 2018. In 2018, we put a bond referendum on there. 34 projects. Did they all get completed? No. How many got completed? 12% of 34, which is 4, got completed. So Beaufort County Council collected that money over, the time period stated on the ballot. They collected your tax money. They were supposed to spend it on 34 things. They did not do it. Now, the answer is, well, COVID came and we couldn't get anywhere and people were, not working. That's horseshit. Excuse my French. Contracts are contracts. And if you didn't spend it, then where is it? Because it's no acquis, as they say. It's not here. So now they're asking for $950 million for $900 million of projects, 15 of them. That means there's 30 left over here. There's 15 now. That's 45, unless some are duplicates, which is obviously possible. This is an easy no. But wait a minute, if you're still on the edge, let's look at question number 2. Question number 2, which you never heard talked about until Ann Ubellis and myself started bringing this out on podcasts. Question number 2 has to do with number 1. It says, hey, Beaufort County residents, we'd like to go ahead and issue some GO bonds, which stands for general obligation, okay? General obligation bonds in the amount of $515 million to begin to help pay for question number 1 above. It's kind of like this. You know, you teach your kids to live on a budget. You know, if you don't have, you want something that costs $5. If you don't have $5, you don't get it. You don't buy it. Going into debt is not smart. We all do it. We do it. But for the county to say, taxpayers, we're going to go ahead and sell these bonds. We got to pay all that back. We're going to pay for this. It's all your money, by the way. It's bad business. It's bad business. And we've had two or three county council members say, if you don't approve the tax, we're going to raise your property taxes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that, or you have friends that think that, I see it on Nextdoor, please tell them that that's false. They cannot, county council cannot threaten you, trying to extort votes out of you for money. They can't do that. They can't arbitrarily raise your property taxes. There are laws that say, you know, property taxes can be raised as much as this percent, this many years, and within this many years of each other. There are laws that say that. So to Tabernick, Mark Lawson, I don't know if anybody else said it, but I know those two did. I take exception with that because that is not true. That is not true. Will the projects linger around for 2 more years? I would imagine they probably would. So some have said, okay, fat boy, what's your solution to these problems? We have road problems. Well, my solution is simple. How do you eat an apple? You eat it one bite at a time. You don't swallow it whole. If they were to take that $950 million, or really $900 million, but they want $50 million extra. If they were to take that and really pare that down, like people who know how to negotiate, business people, businessmen and women know how to negotiate, not some of these clowns, bring it down to something that people can understand, they can swallow, they can see the results, and they can move on to the next one. Let's just take a number, because quite frankly, I've never seen $950 million. I've never seen that. I don't know how much I could, could that fit in this room? I don't know. 200 million. While I've never seen that, I do have a grasp from being in business. $200 million, I know what that looks like. $200 million can be raised fast through tax, some kind of tax, sales tax, whatever. That can be raised and can be spent quickly and projects done. Do them in small amounts. Bite that apple one at a time and accomplish the goal. Everything is not an emergency. Yes, there are things that are emergency to me that may not be an emergency to you. There are some that are emergency to you that may not be to me. I get it. That's why they're elected to sit there and make the hard decisions. And Ubellis makes a good point. It is an ethics violation to threaten you if you oppose their tax referendum. They cannot be pro or con on an ordinance, punishable by a $10,000 fine. 3 council members in a public meeting threatened to raise property tax if this was not approved on the ballot. And she is exactly right. When you go to these tabletop meetings, these fireside meetings that they're having, a county council person cannot say they are for it, They cannot say they are against it. They cannot say, I'm here to educate you to vote yes. And the majority of county council has been doing that. Ms. Tabernick, Mr. Lawson, and whoever the third one was, they cannot say those things. That is an ethics violation. Yes, the penalty is up to $10,000 in fines. They cannot do that. Town councils cannot do this. School boards cannot intimidate you by saying yes or no. Shannon Loper, I do see about ethics complaint. Yes, I believe there are several ethics complaints being filed. And hey, we've had 5 county council members on tonight, so I think they probably got the gist of it. So anyway, that is it for tonight. We are in parts unknown. We will be back next week in the studio. I want to thank everybody for joining in. One thing, don't forget, pay attention to the news. While we don't talk about national news all that much, pay attention to it. There's a lot of things going on. The United States is almost getting itself into 4 different hotspots of wars: the Middle East, Europe, Korea, and Taiwan. Yes, there are 4 hotspots that are about to pop off given bad circumstances. Pay attention to that. Know what's going on in your own backyard. And by all stretches, watch your six.